The daily life of the Aztec was more meticulous and elaborate than it would initially seem. The daily life of the Aztec would vary depending on the class and gender of a particular member of their society. However, no adult will be allowed to contribute nothing to the empire, and it was largely dependent on cooperation. The Aztec had a social class that fundamentally consisted of the emperor or ruler at the top, the nobles preceding him, commoners, warriors, and merchants after the nobility, and the peasantry, serfs, slaves, and servants were all at the bottom of the Aztec stratification system. Males were mostly thought to become warriors and priests, while women were expected to be housewives, and tend more to domestic affairs like weaving, cooking, and cleaning. The Aztec or Mexica resided at Tenochtitlan, which was one of the vicinity of Lake Texcoco. They had elaborate agricultural systems. The Aztec will cultivate in artificial lands that were full of green vegetation, leaves, and include dirt to grow the crops in. These artificial lands were referred as chinampas. Furthermore, they incorporated irrigation systems into their artificial lands. This gained a lot of crops like maize, tomatoes, beans, and squash from all their farms. All of this provided them with sustenance to sustain their population. Additionally, there were markets in their Aztec Empire that were frequently visited. A major market like Technoloco would receive 50,000 visitors on a day were major market activities. This market had an exchange of tools, clothes, or more than even a specific class of merchants called the Pochekta, tasked with long trade of excess possessions like slaves, garments, food, and more.
If an Aztec was not a commoner tending to farmlands in the scorching sun, or a slave waiting on their masters, or a female attending to the house, then they would most likely have been a noble or a priest. Nobles would most likely bear numerous lavish jewels and necklaces around their bodies. They had jewelry composed of precious metals like jade, obsidian, gold, etc. Furthermore, the priest would be valued immensely as religion was paramount in Aztec society. The Aztecs were polytheistic and believed in many gods including Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun and war, and Quetzalcoatl, which was the god of creation and the god of wisdom. The Aztecs, similar to other Mesoamerican societies, practiced ritualistic animal and human sacrifice. They eviscerated the bodies of their victims and tore into their organs, tearing through the flesh, and frequently valued organs like the heart. Although there was a religious component to these sacrifices, they also served a political purpose in that the Aztecs would take prisoners after they waged warfare on other hostiles and would offer the war prisoners as sacrifice as testimony of the strength of the Aztecs. Many of the early conquistadors that attempted to take over the Aztec empires were captured and some were sacrificed. Lastly, there were many enhancements made in Aztec life. They had technologies like a calendar, weapons, medicine, and canoes that made developments in mathematics, science, and astronomy. They developed weapons like the macuajito, which was a wooden club containing sharp pieces of volcanic glass utilized to disable their enemies without killing them. However, the Aztecs did have some setbacks in their technology as they did not have access to some metals like iron and bronze, causing some weapons and tools to be composed of obsidian and chert, a sedimentary rock. The Aztec Empire would ultimately reign until late 1521, when their empire would succumb to the might of the Spaniards, which spilled blood along the Aztec soil and led to the killings of about 240,000 people throughout the duration of the conquests.